Carl, welcome to the stage. Come on up, come on up. Let's keep it going for Carl.
Thank you. Amazing. Welcome. Let me get you up.
Sure. Thank you. Well, my story starts off like a Fox News headline. Christian teenager goes to university and gets indoctrinated into LGBTQ ideology. Yeah, but I can tell you, like as a kid, I never would have imagined that I was going to walk away from the faith that my mother raised me in. But being gay put me in a collision course with Catholic teaching. And that collision happened freshman year. It was a field trip for class to a workshop production of a new play called Angels in America. Yeah. So this queer manifesto grabbed me by the shoulders and shook the Catholic right out of me. So now my mom and I are standing on two different sides of a very deep divide, and her question is hanging in the air. What makes you think you know better than teachings that have been passed down thousands of years and passed from me to you? And damn, she knew how to get under my skin, because that question I did not have an answer for. In fact, there were things about the faith that I grew up with that I was missing. One of them was the clear guidance of right and wrong. The next one would be being able to walk into a space like this and feeling a sacred sense of awe. And also believing in these Bible stories that gave me a sense of connection to history. And I think these things were on my mind when I walked into the Guggenheim in 2003 to see an art show by an artist who was very prolific. And I walked in and the rotunda was full of these amazing sculptures. And I stopped to look at these crystal towers, and the upper parts of them were etched to look like the tips of skyscrapers. And it had me thinking like how weird it is that these man-made cityscapes around us don't look that different than a bed of crystals. And it's like Mother Nature has known what human engineers took eons to figure out. They were also showing some experimental films by the artist. So I wandered into these dark rooms, and I was hypnotized by these wordless scenes where people were dressed up in elaborate costumes and acting out these cryptic rituals. One of the scenes had these women dressed like Busby Berkeley, dancers, and they're on a football field moving in these weird patterns. And it gave me this strange sensation of like looking through a microscope at chromosomes unraveling. I'm telling you, my brain was swimming, but I came out of there with this clear thought. Like, aren't we all sort of doing this weird dance together, individual cells in a larger body, and how nature has differentiated us to each be unique, but we never get to see the big picture of what we're part of? Like, you could have a red blood cell passing by and looking at that skin cell and saying, "Why do you keep sitting there in one place? Are you lazy or something?" And that skin cell can fire back, "Well, why are you always rushing around? It's exhausting." And this epiphany actually allowed me to sit in space with my mother again and not feel this need to have to convince her that I knew what was right for humanity, because now I could concentrate on just honoring what I believed was right for myself. And we could just be like two cells sitting there exchanging enzymes. And I also realized that I didn't need to decide if I knew that God existed to feel a sense of awe, because this artist gave that back to me. By dressing up these biological processes in this mythical drag, he was basically showing me that the story of a molecule going through a cell wall could be just as wondrous as the Bible stories that I grew up with. Well, this new feeling of centeredness, it really kind of got me through the ups and downs of life. And it came to the pandemic, where all of a sudden I was keenly aware that every choice I make really could cause a ripple effect that steered the health of the larger body in one direction or another. It was also a great outlook during the period that I'm in now of being unemployed. It can really mess with your brain. But I just stand in this belief that if I'm the best version of myself that I can be, then the body will find a use for my skills when the time comes. So, even though I no longer follow the writings of Mark, Luke, and Paul, I'm able to embrace other gospels like the Gospel of Oscar Wilde, of James Baldwin, of activist Sylvia Rivera, and also the Gospel of Matthew, which is Matthew Barney, which is the artist whose work I saw in 2003. And that day, the Guggenheim became like a cathedral where my new faith was born. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. Let's give it over Carl Couch, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you for your story. Thank you, thank you, thank you.